Hello. It's been about 6 months since I made a recording, so I wanted to share what I've been doing with this village. I have two goals in mind when I discover villages. The first goal is to make it safe from mobs and attacks from pillagers. The second is to grow the population. So when I first stumbled upon this village, it was probably something around 17 or fewer villagers. Now we're closer to 50. And I wanted to just share some of the things that I've done, as opposed to some of the things that I did with my prior villages. So in my prior villages, you might remember that I did wall them off, but I used smooth stone, so it's um, not aesthetically pleasing. Not to say that the glass is, but at least the glass allows you to see through what's outside the village rather than have a walled off, completely walled off, obstructed view. The other advantage of the glass is that while you can see outside, the mobs cannot see in. So let's also look at some of the natural defenses that I have. There are the wild berry bushes, and for those of you that know, they have thorns and they impede your progress and they actually cause damage. So if mobs spawn up here in this area or pillagers spawn for a raid, they cannot get through the wild berries and they eventually die if they stay in contact with it long enough. I also started using trees as a natural barrier. So when you plant them together, you can see they form a solid natural wall that's impenetrable. And you can do it with all kinds of trees. Here's, I believe that's the birch, and here's the oak. So let's go take a look at some of the farming. When you farm, you have an excess of seeds. You can use them to plant crops. So you can see there's plenty of wheat and beetroot and carrot and watermelon and sugar cane down there. And again, another natural tree wall. You can see somehow golems have spawned outside of the wall. I don't know how they did that, but I'm happy about it because those 3 to 5 golems that are outside the wall provide a lot of great security for the village when the night comes. And this entrance to the village, it's guarded by a golem who has chosen to take up sentry at the mouth of the water. And here we have one of the original structures of the village that's decorated with my ominous banner from the pillagers, one of the pillager raids. And it's fairly untouched by my ugly hand, although I have made a few modifications. It's still intact in its original form. And you'll be able to see what I mean in a minute when we go look at the other structures that I've completely made ugly. So let's go take a look now. So you can see this weird thing. It's got my smooth stone signature here. Very cubist proportions. And I made it bigger so we could have more villagers inside. So let's go take a look. There's, I think, a total of 2, 4, 6, 8 beds in here, all occupied. So it's dormitory style and it gives the villagers a lot more space and a lot more room, and I can house more people efficiently. Same with this one. It's got 2, 4, 6, 7 beds, all full. And again, lots of crops, wheat and red beet, wheat. You'll see this fencing here. I didn't want to put it up, but I had to because the villagers and the golems, for some reason, kept on feeling compelled to stay in there, and I didn't want them being in the water. I'd rather have them in the village. So here, this room is all full. I think it's 5 beds. You can see glowberries I got from inside the caves, exploring inside the caves in the treasure chests. And I got some glowberries. Here we see another elongated original structure. It's got 4 beds, all full. more crops, and the pen for chickens. When you have chickens, you really don't need anything else. They give you feathers for fighting, for making arrows. They give you eggs for making more chickens, so you don't have to breed animals like with cows or pigs or sheep. And they're really perfect. So you can feed them seeds if you want to speed up the breeding. This bridge, this glass bridge, I had to make it because the villagers who were on the other side always ended up in the water trying to get to this structure. So I made the glass bridge to facilitate that, and so I wouldn't have to get in the river and rescue them anymore. So let's take a look inside this two-story structure. 3 beds, all full. On the second floor, I believe there's 4 beds, and 3 of which are full. Really happy about that because in the beginning, the villagers refused to sleep on the second floor. But for some reason now they have taken up residence on the second floor up there. I've got about 13 horses, I think, maybe 14. I've lost count. But I use all this empty space for planting crops. It was just going to waste, so instead of letting it sit, I decided to use it functionally. And you can see I've got crops everywhere. So if we ever need to breed the villagers, we just get a bunch of wheat, make a bunch of bread, and feed them. And as you can see, sugar cane. More sugar cane as far as the eye can see. Natural birch wall. I know it's not the greatest aesthetically, but for functional purposes, I like what it accomplishes. If the mobs are going to come, at least make them go around. So let's head back. So heading back to the village, you can see another solid wall of oak trees. My horses, some with armor, some without. And let's go across to that monstrosity and take a closer look. That was my first iteration of a multi-level building in this village. And pretty ugly. My friend says it's container style. But it's smooth stone in rectangular shapes. And let's take a look. All of these beds except one, I believe, are full. And the second story, I believe, also all but one is full at night. And this story, I have yet to get anybody to stay up here yet, but I would love to have them come up to the 3rd floor. And the last thing, let's take a rooftop view overlook of the village. Solid tree wall along that river. Tons of golems. Let's see if we can do a quick head count. 5, 7, 10, 12, 14, and I think there's a few outside the wall. I see at least 16 golems, so pretty good at providing security. There's some in the water at the bottom of the river. I don't know if you can see them from here, but anyway, that's it. It's gonna be nighttime, so time for everybody to sleep in the village. Those are some of the things I've been doing with this village. I'm going to try to move on pretty soon. The new updates have made it impossible to do this with the new villages, because the new villages, as of the last two updates, are so sprawling that you could never hope to wall them in. The distance is so vast, and not only the distance on land, but in height. They'll put part of the village on top of a mountain, a steep mountain, and then have it span a length that is incredible, where you can see to the other side using your telescope. So it's not, I think this was the last traditional style village that you were going to see. The new updates of Minecraft have these ridiculously large villages, expansive villages that are much more difficult to defend. But that'll be a good challenge for me, a good task to try. Thanks for watching.